Liberty Mutual customized my car insurance,
Oh
and I saved
no.
hundreds. With the money I saved, I started a dog walking business.
Welcome to the Re-Up Podcast, your one-stop shop for all movies, TV shows, video games, and music news. As always, I'm your host, Ian Reed. And join me as always. Wait a minute. Devin Knoll is not here today, ladies and gentlemen. He's still suffering from a bit of a man cold. It's been like a month, and I'm starting to think that it has more to do with me than it does have to do with having a cold. But no worries at all. I have called in a favor. I got a last minute replacement. The man, the myth, the Gackigan. How you doing, Cullen?
Good. How are you, Ian?
I'm doing good. I wish that you were here with me, but it's nice to hear your voice. It's nice to not feel alone.
It would be way better if I was with you, but it's great to hear your voice.
Hey man, that's life. But wanna do something real quick. It's the spooky season. It's Halloween, so we're gonna have to we're gonna change the view here. We're gonna make it a little bit a little bit scary here. Let me see what we got going on. Oh no, it's not working. What have I done? I'm all alone now. There's supposed to be a Halloween thing here. See, this is what happens when I don't have Dev with me, you know? Fear not, though. We always have Devin. Devin's still here, and that's all that really matters.
That's
Ah,
amazing.
look at that beautiful man. So, let me get this news docket pulled up here. All right, so this week I've watched the new Ghostbumps TV show. I've watched the last episode of American Horror Story. There's a lot of Drake news. There's some new Starfield things I'd like to talk about, and there's a new Strangers TV show coming out. So, I guess just to kick things off with what I watched this week. Colin, do you remember the Scholastic Book Fair back in the day?
Oh, I remember very well.
Do you
I
remember
remember having no money, and I remember watching all the kids get all like the cool bookmarks and all the good books and stuff,
that's what I'm
posters and
saying.
all.
Yeah, I had to, I still went there just like thinking that like some more money was going to just appear in the wallet that I didn't have at 8 years old.
Right.
But I always left in tears. Never got to get anything. But if I did, if I went today at 28 years old, I'd be buying some Goosebumps books. I'll tell you that right now.
R.L. Stein, just what a guy.
That's what I'm saying. Did you ever watch the movie with Jack Black back in the day?
No, but I did used to. Do you remember watching? There were like the older. I don't know if they were. You would call them TV shows or movie esque type videos. They were not very long, maybe 30, 40 minutes long. I remember seeing a few of those.
Yeah, I didn't know that that was a thing until this new series came out on Disney. I didn't know that they were a thing at all, and then I was like kind of reading into it because the one they did like a 5 episode premiere, and the end of the fifth episode was kind of like teasing somebody. They're like, "Ooh, he's gonna be coming," and I'm like, "Uh, "Who?" And then like everybody at Kate and everybody online was like, "Oh, it's obviously." The puppet. It's got to be the puppet. And I'm like, I have no idea what is going on here. I don't know. I feel like an idiot. But yeah, new Goosebumps series just came out. Sixth episode just started streaming today. It's actually a really good series. It's got that guy from, oh man, what's he from?
If you're
Accepted.
talking about dodgeball and accepted, you're talking about Justin Long.
Yeah, him. And I haven't seen him in anything in a while, but I'm a big Justin Long fan. Thank you for filling me in on his name. But
You're welcome. It's a weird cast to me. You're right because he's been so out of the loop in like the mainstream kind of acting roles, and now he's doing Goosebumps. It's just I don't know. That's kind of weird, but I mean, good for him.
yeah, he always does kind of weird movies. I think he did a movie with by A24, like The Walrus or whatever. Did you ever see that movie?
Oh my goodness. Tusk is that the movie
That
that
is
you're
it. That's
talking about?
Tusk. Yes, not the walrus. Yeah, Tusk.
Oh, that movie's messed up
Like
from
human
what I've
centipede esque.
yeah, like just some guy being turned like somebody captures him maybe or kidnaps him and turns him slowly into like a walrus and oh my goodness.
And then like his girlfriend like finds him at the end, and it's just what the hell.
That's yeah, what that's a very weird plot, but hey,
But
whatever.
something that's really interesting about the show is not really spoilers because it happens in the first episode. But he gets like taken over, like possessed by the ghost of this kid that died in a house fire. And it's just like and he has like the mental state of this kid still from like 13 years old. It's like if I had to cast somebody to do that and play it perfectly, it's Justin Long. He does it like I don't even know how old he is these days, probably like late 30s if not in his 40s, and he just perfectly somehow how it has like the face to be a 13-year-old kid acting as an adult. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, you're totally right. It's kind of like I said, it's kind of crazy to see him do all these like mainstream roles and then just go to Goosebumps, but I'm sure that that part's probably casted perfectly. I really don't know anybody else in those in that show to be honest. I really don't know any other
Yeah,
actors.
the I only recognized a couple of people because they're like all the kids are young. Like I don't know them from anything, but the couple of the adults are actually the Office alumni. Did you watch The Office at all?
I've seen a few different like clips online and stuff in some episodes, but
Okay, well
I
they're like
haven't
very like obscure Office alumni. Like you would only know them as like this person's boyfriend and, and this person's sister. You know what I mean? I've,
small cameos. I get it. I see what you're saying.
yeah, like I've watched The Office like 9 times back to back, so I can just be like, "Oh, you're in one episode of The Office from season 4. That's how I know you." You know what you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, I think you should definitely give Goosebumps a watch. It's got a little bit of, like teen, young adult writing to it. They're like, oh, football. I can't play in the big game if I don't get an A on the big history test and stuff
Oh,
like
your
that.
typical. Oh, yeah, I see what you're
So
your teen drama kind of deal.
yeah, it's stuff like that. I mean, it's not as bad as Riverdale got in its final seasons, but the writing is just not there completely. Um, how about you, Gak? You've been watching anything recently?
I mean, the one thing that I've only seen a few episodes of would be The Last of Us with Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey. And
I love
I can tell you
Pedro
what,
Pascal.
he is such a phenomenal actor. I've only really seen him in like I've seen him in Game of Thrones.
Yes, the Viper.
Um, yeah, he's I can't remember his name, dude. Oh my goodness. He's from the island of Dorne, I remember. But
Yeah, I don't remember his
he's
exact name either.
but the show is actually like for a zombie-esque show. I found it very interesting because I love anything zombie. Been playing like Left 4 Dead and State of Decay, all those games.
Do, do,
And watching.
do you have a
Go ahead.
PlayStation? Did you ever play Last of Us?
No, that's something that I wanted to do first. My girlfriend and I have actually been watching it. I didn't know if I wanted to start with the game and then go into the show, or do the show first and then go to the game. So we've obviously done the show to the game.
I gotcha.
But
Yeah, I that was the same thing that I wanted to do with it as well. I ended up I started playing it and then really didn't get too far before the show came out, but I can tell you that like the first episode of that show is almost like pretty close to like a shot for shot remake. Like even like the scenes, like the background and the signage and like the buildings, it's like exactly the opening to the game. It's actually pretty remarkable how well they did.
I just like that it's not your typical I mean, obviously somebody gets infected, but like the way that they make it with like the what is it, like the mushrooms or like the pores or some sort
Yeah, it's
of like
like a fungi, yeah.
yeah, that's it, fungi. That's the word I'm looking for. Like I like that it's that instead of your typical, oh, somebody ate a bad pig and then all of a sudden turned into a zombie, like a virus happened, and it's like,
It's too,
what? Like,
yeah, that's too like COVID-esque.
yeah, it's too cliche of
they
like a zombie thing, whereas this kind of went like a different route,
they ate the
like
bat
more
soup.
believable.
Yeah.
But it's a good watch. I think we're only on like episode 4 or 5, but the storyline's pretty good. But I'll tell you what, some of the CGI they do is actually pretty good for a TV show.
Yeah, I only unfortunately have made it to like I only did like the first two episodes of it, but I really enjoyed it and I thought the same thing. Like some of those like super like infected ones, like with a lot of like the I don't even know what they're called. I'm sure there's a name and somebody's gonna tell me this, but it's like I don't know. They have like all the fungi on them really, really bad, whatever they're called. They look like
Oh,
phenomenal.
are the ones that I remember are they the ones that can't see because they're clickers? That's what
That's
they were
it.
called. Is
Clickers. Yep, that's
Yeah,
it.
they're the ones that can't see you but they can hear you.
Yeah, and they look really, really good.
Oh, they do. The makeup department definitely was spot on that one.
I think that show's so good um because it's an HBO show. Like anytime I hear that a show's coming out on HBO, I already know that it's going to be, you know what I mean, above and beyond production wise.
Oh, absolutely. They had a budget for sure for that one.
But fun fact, it got renewed for season 2 and they want to only do as far as I know, they're only going to do up through the first 2 games and I'm pretty sure that season 1 ends at the end of the first game. Could be wrong about that as well cuz I haven't watched or played. But I think season 2 would be game 2, The Last of Us 2, and I mean if they do the whole game, then I guess it's going to be over because they said that they're not going to Game of Thrones themselves and they're not going to go after the source material. So
Well,
I
that's
think it's
good
good.
that they're keeping it kind of bare. Yeah, you're right. To drag it out for, I mean, 8, 9 seasons, an hour, or some change episodes, dude. You're really. It's almost like a second job, like keeping up with the show constantly, and then you might forget some stuff that happened way, way, way back. But
Yeah, and then you got to kind of like you're making your own thing, and how do you make it to? Do you make it to satisfy the people that played the game? Do you make it to satisfy the viewers? And you're never going to probably ever do both if you once you shy away from what's been established already. You know what I mean?
oh, absolutely, yeah.
I do think, speaking of which, there's a Fallout TV series coming on Amazon Prime, which I don't think that the Rings of Power, Lord of the Rings show did as well as people had hoped. So it kind of makes me a little nervous because for me, Fallout is like my favorite video game franchise of all time. So I'm a little nervous, but the sets on that look pretty phenomenal as well. So holding out hope. Um,
I didn't know that Fallout was coming out with the TV series. That's actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean it's these big like story-driven games that I think can make excellent TV if done correctly, which The Last of Us did. And I think Fallout has a good chance. They've tried to do like Halo 2 or 3 times, and I think the series that they did of Halo was all right. I didn't watch it, but like I don't know. I feel like I would know for sure if it was actually done remarkably well. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I don't know. But um last thing that I watched this week was American Horror Story. I've been following it. I've been saying on previous episodes that it's the first season of American Horror Story in a couple of years where I'm actually like really into it. I feel like it's a good Finally, we're getting a good season again. I put it on yesterday because that's when it came out, the episode, and it said on Hulu that it's the season finale, which kind of surprised me because it was only episode 5, and we usually get like, I don't know, 10 to 13 episodes a season. But then I looked into it, and the reason that this is because they just had that big actor and writer strike. And what happened was they filmed the first 5 episodes and edited them, and then the strike happened, so they just had to shut down production. So instead of it being like your normal mid-season break over the holidays or something like that, it's we'll get the rest of the episodes done eventually. They're not written or shot or edited or anything, so we could be looking at like months. We could be looking at hell next fall before the second half of the season comes out.
Yeah, because I heard it's split into part 1 and part 2, right? There's like a part 1 to this past one, and then there'll be a part 2 obviously coming later down the road.
Yeah, so 2 seasons ago they called it the double feature, where like the first one was all about vampires. And then like after 8 episodes or so, they did another one where you're like, oh, this is gonna continue, and it was just all about like aliens, and I don't think they even tied in at all together. And it was just like I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's a part 1 and part 2 because they wanted it to, or because they were forced to because people you know, weren't working.
See, I haven't followed American Horror Story. I mean, the last one I watched was Freak Show, which was, oh my goodness, years ago, and I really enjoyed that. But honestly, I was very surprised to see some of the cast for this new one, for this last one. Obviously, you've got your Emma Roberts, but I saw was has Kim Kardashian been in any other
Oh yeah, no,
um
this is her first season, which I think she's actually doing pretty well.
I was just about to ask you that, how you thought she was acting wise, if she's done a good job
Yeah, I mean, I
delivering on
can't
her
think of
part.
anything that she would have acted in besides this. Um, I mean, she obviously knows how to handle herself in front of a camera, but um, but she, yeah, no, I mean, I think she's genuinely doing good. I mean, it's got a little bit of like cringe to it, like she's like,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, I think it's funny because if you've ever seen, voluntarily or involuntarily seen any of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, I think that the role that she's playing is funny because it feels like she's playing her mom, like she's playing Emma Roberts' manager, and it's like Emma Roberts had like some sort of like, crisis happen in front of like during an award show or something like that, and she's like, "All right, we got to make your public image get better." I'm like, "Well, how we're gonna fix it? We're gonna post an Instagram reel. That's gonna fix everything." And it's
Yeah, just
I don't
that's
know.
oh my goodness. That would make me cringe for sure.
Yeah, that part was definitely cringy, but all in all, I do think that she's doing a pretty good job. Um, but I think that that's it as far as what I've watched, unless you've watched anything else that I am unaware of or have in the docs.
Not in the TV show department, absolutely not. That The Last of Us is really the only thing I've watched as of recent.
Well, hold on here. Our live stream viewers are enjoying this image of Dev, so we're gonna get a little bit more. We're gonna expand. Um, okay. Well, then moving into some music and video game news. So I talked. I don't think last week. I think it was the week before. Drake's long-awaited album "Fat D for All the Dogs" released. I said initially that it's a 23-song album. It's like an hour and a half long, which in my opinion is just too long to be super memorable. Like I'm gonna get lost trying to remember 23 songs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
However, I shouldn't have doubted Drake. The album went number one. It's his 13th number one album, and all 23 songs not only made it to the Billboard Hot 100, but they were all above the top 50 on the Billboard Top 100. So I mean,
I saw that 7 of them actually were in the top 10.
good lord, that man is just insane. And in doing so, with that, he secured another number one spot for the song First Person Shooter featuring J. Cole. Doing so makes it his 13th number one spot, and he has now tied Michael Jackson for male solo artist with the most number ones on the Billboard of all time. I know a few years ago, maybe at this point even 5 years ago or so, he like had the most either most number one songs or most number one albums or something like that, and he was tied or overcame the Beatles. And people will be like, "Oh well, it's so easy to listen to music these days. It's so easily accessible versus putting it on a vinyl and this and that." But it's still a feat nonetheless, in my opinion. Um, Having first person shooter also go up with J. Cole gave J. Cole his very first number one song on the Billboard Top 100, which is just phenomenal to me, just due to the fact that his album 2014 Forest Hills Drive went triple platinum and had no features on it whatsoever. So I don't know how he didn't manage to get a number one song
All right.
at that point. Uh, but good for J. Cole. I'm a big J. Cole fan these days, arguably more than I am a Drake fan. Uh, But aside from that, also there was a new Blink 182 album that came out today. The first album with the original three members of Blink 182 back together post airplane crash for Travis Barker and post cancer diagnosis for Mark Hoppus. So good to see this band that was my very first ever favorite band making new music together again. I got to see them a couple months ago in Pittsburgh, and that was just a phenomenal show.
I bet that was a great concert.
I always talk about seeing them. I was in Pittsburgh for another concert the day before, and then I had like a band tee on for Joyce Manor, and I was at the Pittsburgh Zoo, and this guy said to me, he was like, "Hey, I like your shirt," and like Joyce is such an unknown band, like to some people, and I was like, "Do you know this band?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah." He's like, "You up here to see Blink 182?" And I was like, "Wait a minute." I was like, "When is that?" And he's like, "It's tonight, 7 o'clock." Then I spent my entire Pittsburgh Zoo experience just on StubHub trying to find some cheap last minute tickets to Blink, and I got them for like $80 a piece. So yeah, it was pretty rad to see that. Um, but I think that's all the real music news. I haven't had a lot of music news lately. Nothing really excites me these days. I'm really just hoping for something. But
Yeah, you're right. I actually listened to a lot of the Drake album.
ooh, you cut out there for a sec. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. It was kind of underwhelming, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was kind of boring. I think honestly, besides the J. Cole song, that my favorite album was, or my favorite song was the one with Bad Bunny in it, which is funny because it's like entirely in Spanish, pretty much. But the beat is just so insane that I know that like if I'm at a party or something, I'm gonna be, or at the bar, I'm gonna be all about it. You know.
I think mine was 8 a.m. in Charlotte. That one was actually I thought the beat on that one was pretty nice.
That one, I forgot about that one. That one was pretty good too. It the Drake always does these songs that have like a timestamp in front of them. He does them with a famous producer. I think it's T minus is his name. But there's like so many Drake songs that have some sort of time in it at a location, and they always are just like banger, like freestyle raps. And that one was really good too. He actually released the music video for it like an hour or two before the album dropped, and it blew up really
Uh,
bad.
I can only imagine.
Um, but yeah, so I think we'll move into some video games now. I know that you used to stream a lot, Gak. What have you been playing these days?
Honestly, I've shied away from a lot of PC games. I mean, I played a lot of Valorant. I don't know if you know what Valorant is.
I never
But I
played it, but
played.
I'm familiar.
It's pretty much Counter Strike meets like a Rainbow Six Siege type deal.
Gotcha.
It's not bad, but there's one game actually that I've really been um
I lost you again.
dude.
We're having technical difficulties. Please bear with us. See what happens when Devin isn't around. Devin's
All right, I think I got it.
yeah, you're good. You're good.
All right, we're good. It's Starfield actually.
Wait, what about Starfield?
It's the game that I've wanted to like try out because like when it first came out, I'm not a big Bethesda person. I haven't really played a lot of Bethesda in the past other than like Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 76 for a bit.
Oh my
But
goodness.
I've noticed got a lot of mixed reviews.
Mixed
So I was kind of
reviews?
like, yeah, like at first it came out like I guess it came out hot, like all the streamers were playing it, and everyone's like, oh, it's really nice because it's like the one Bethesda game that had like the least amount of bugs and stuff. But as like the
Yes.
game's kind of been going on, and like I've just been seeing the reviews have kind of been more mixed rather than more positive.
Yeah, I know when the game first came out that it got review bombed by everybody that had a PlayStation because since Microsoft bought Bethesda, they released it only on Xbox and PC.
Ah,
Um,
okay.
I don't know. I've heard that the main storyline is pretty short in that game. I had Devin over after a podcast a couple weeks ago, and I was like, "Hey, like you're just laying there. I'm gonna play some Starfield." And I think I spent like 5 hours just doing side quests. Like that game is massive. I think when I was done, he was like the last mission, he was like, "Dude, I think that's the first time you shot your gun the whole time, just because I made like a speech OP guy." You know what I mean? Um, but I think that that game is beautiful. It's definitely way less buggy than any Bethesda game for sure. Um, it's massive. It's I don't know. I started getting into the actual storyline now, and it's actually pretty interesting. However, I do have one gripe with the storyline of Starfield. Right. So playing it, I was saying that like you're finding these like artifacts pretty much like on various planets, and everybody's like, we don't know what the hell these are. Like when you touch them, you like kind of transcend and like or just seeing like I don't know, it almost looks like the northern lights kind of like it's just like some weird rainbow-esque thing you're seeing. And then after you do it, you get like superpowers, literally superpowers. And it's just felt very Skyrim to me because when you're playing Skyrim and you get shouts, you press like LB and RB on the controller and then you do the shout,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's that exact button combo and then you do the power. And I'm like, okay, okay, Bethesda, you know what I mean? And then I just left it at that. But then I was playing it this week, and I'm continuing the storyline. And so in Skyrim, when that happens, and you start finding out about it, they tell you that you're dragonborn, and that's why that you're able to do these shouts and whatnot. So as I progress through the storyline of Starfield and get another one of these powers, then I get stopped by like another ship, and they're like, "Oh, that ship looks alien. It doesn't look man-made." And then like you start talking to people, they like try to talk to you. You know what I mean? They're like, give us the artifacts. This and that, whatever. They're like, we're the Starborn. And I'm like, okay. In Skyrim, I'm the Dragonborn, and now in Starfield, I'm the Starborn. Like, can we like at least pretend like we didn't just make Skyrim in space, please,
Yeah.
please?
Yeah.
Um, but they did announce that Starfield is gonna have new content for the next 4 to 5 years, and that, as massive as it is, I can just only imagine.
Wow.
I hope
It
that.
almost seems like it would be like a GTA 5 kind of deal, you know? Like GTA 5's been out for God only knows how long, and they're still pumping out content for that game.
I dude, I know. I'm excited to hear that on the one hand, new Bethesda property, excited that that's happening, but also at the same time like I'm waiting on Elder Scrolls 6 for so damn long, and I know that I'm not going to get Fallout 5 until Elder Scrolls 6 is out, and that's just now in like pre-development. So, yes, give me Starfield content, but please have like a majority of your workers focusing on these next games cuz I need them. I need to eat them up. And lacking. Um But I think that's all I got. I think that's all I got Starfield wise. Before we get into anything else, I'm gonna take a real quick break. All right, Gak.
Yeah, you got it.
All right, let me switch it over to BRB. right, Gak, I'm back. I had to let that music tune down. I was changing around some files earlier on my PC and freeing up some space, and I seem to have messed up all my image locations, but I figured it out
I
at the
I
end.
have done that before, believe me.
But hold up, now that I've realized that I did that, I also can finally bring back what I tried to do at the beginning, which is my super spooky Halloween background. So let's go ahead and give it one of them. There we go. Now we're ready for Halloween on the Re-Up Pod.
Wow, that's actually pretty nice. I like that background.
All right, so let's see. Other gaming news. Since we're talking about Starfield, I'm going to go ahead and get into it. Did you ever play Magic the Gathering, Gak card game?
No, but I've seen stuff about it. It's almost like a it takes doesn't it take like different I've seen they're coming out with like an Assassin's Creed one. It's almost like is it like Yu-Gi-Oh-esque or Pokemon-esque? Is that am I right or am I totally wrong there?
I mean, yeah, you're kind of right. It's like a trading card game. You buy packs, you can add to your deck. There's various rules, this and that, whatever. Um, to me, I think that it's closer, like approaching almost. Now, I'm saying this with never playing it, but I think it's approaching like Warhammer or approaching like D&D. I've played a little D&D, but like it just seems like it has a
There's like a
lot more.
lore behind it.
There's
Is
lore
that
behind it. It has a lot
okay?
more like rules to it than Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh did. Um, I've always enjoyed Magic. It's my go-to card game if I were to get back into that kind of stuff. I actually bought a few cards because I wanted to play it again, but I just found out. Well, they actually did a Stranger Things themed pack for a while, with like
Okay.
they had like what's her name, like 11 and the Demogorgon and stuff like that, and those cards are cool. They looked cool. I mean, and then they did a Lord of the Rings one recently, and they actually released. If you don't know about Magic, they actually released a like the One Ring card, and it was like there was actually a one of one card, and somebody found it, and it was like worth like millions of dollars. And Post Malone is a big Magic the Gathering fan, and he actually paid two
I
million to
did
get
see
this
that.
card.
I did see that. That's funny. I didn't know that that's what it was from was Magic the Gathering. That's interesting.
Yeah, yeah. And then I saw there's like a Doctor Who one as well. But they released a Fallout one, and as I said, Fallout's my favorite franchise. But they released the cards and what they look like, and I think that this fits almost more than the rest of them since Fallout is a video game. Like to me, like these cards, it's like oh, like we're actually adding these elements in. We're not adding in like this TV show of 11 having superpowers. You know what I mean? Like it just makes it feel like it flows better. I think in that case, and I think it's going to make the Assassin's Creed ones look really interesting too. Like some of the card like designs for the Fallout ones are like the actual like what it would look like through a Pip Boy, or like there's like I don't know. There's like one of the cards, for example, is like VATS, where it's like when you slow down time in Fallout, and you can like select which part you want to shoot on somebody, and it's like you play that card, and it's like an instant card, and it's like when that happens, like nobody can play anything else. It's like it's pause time. This is happening. You selected this many people with the same amount, and they're just dead. And like that's I don't know, like that's kind of how VATS works in Fallout. So it's just cool to see that like come together like that. Like, I think they
Yeah,
did it really really good justice in my opinion.
it's very interesting. Yeah.
Um, Yeah, I didn't think you were a big Magic the Gathering fan, but
Yeah, no, like I
if
said, I've
somebody
heard
is,
about it and I've seen stuff about it before, mainly because it like the big names, like I said, I saw the Assassin's Creed one coming out, the Doctor Who one. I'm glad you brought that up because that's I think that's the one I saw that maybe kind of be like, oh, okay, and I kind of looked into it a little bit, but I've never really been into those like trading card esque games before, so.
I feel ya. I am. I don't know, man. I don't play games too much anymore. Like I just don't have the time. And then like now, like for me, I'm like, I feel like I'm getting older. I wanna invite people over and play board games. I had like some friends over last week.
Oh,
We just played Clue.
yes.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
that is such a mood when you get older. I feel that 100%.
well, God, if you're ever looking to play some Clue or some Monopoly or some Risk, man, you hit me up. I'm your guy. All about it.
I will do that for sure in the near future.
Um, so you a big COD fan? I know you play Valorant.
Oh, love me some Call of Duty.
You play any Warzone 2 at all?
I'll say this. I ordered the game. I pre-ordered the game, and I was really excited for it.
Yeah.
And I was very underwhelmed about 3 weeks in.
Yeah.
Haven't touched it since.
Hey man, I couldn't have had a more similar experience. I literally paid for like the whatever the highest edition was, like the Vault edition or whatever. Spent $100 on that game. Came out. I don't even think I made it to like prestige or max level or whatever the hell it is at this point. It gave me like 50 battle pass skips, and I still didn't reach 100 in the battle pass because of how just half underwhelmed and also just out of playing Call of Duty like a religion I am these days. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just it really irritated me because when you think of dropping the first Modern Warfare, it was such a success, not only in the campaign part of the game, but as well as bringing in Warzone. Because like Battle Royale at the time was just taken over. You had PUBG, you had Fortnite, you had all these games that were just it was Battle Royale for so long.
Yep.
And then you brought Rebirth, which was, I think, the best thing to happen to Call of Duty because I feel like a lot of people are so passive playing Battle Royale. They just want to sit in one spot. Whereas Rebirth is like, listen, push, get good at gunfights, but you'll come back. You'll respawn. So you can just continuously take those fights and get better. So when you go into the actual war zone, you're more comfortable taking those fights. And now that like Warzone 2 came out, it's just like it none of that. There's no rebirth. I feel like the audio is disappointing. Like I had a guy 10 feet from me in combat boots and an AR sprinting at me and I didn't
Yeah.
hear him. It's like, are you kidding me, dude? That's a truck coming at me. I don't know.
No, I agree with you. I think that I think Warzone 1 like just captured something. You know, they had just Verdansk, whatever you want to call it, and like it did like the Fortnite thing where as seasons would come out, they would update that map. Like it got to the point that I knew that map like the back of my hand, you know what I mean? I knew
Oh,
exactly where I
absolutely.
was at on that map at all times. I played the shit out of that game. And then when they introduced the new map, I was like, okay, cool. Like, you know, let's get a change of pace. But then they got rid of Verdansk. And that just like it just took it away from me. I'm like, I can't like I've played this game for a year, 2 years, 3 years even straight, you know, and then now I'm just like I don't know. It just lost the magic to me when they did that to it.
Yeah, it's just you have to relearn it all over again, and it's
Yep.
like, but this isn't the same thing. Like Verdansk was way better, and this map kind of sucks, and it just was. Yeah, I'm with you. It just
Yeah, like
totally took a left turn, and
I'm down to learn like a new area, you know what I mean? Like you want to open up stadium, I'm all about it. Open up stadium, let me learn that area, you know. Blow
oh
up
yeah,
another
for
park.
sure.
But new Call of Duty is coming. The best thing about it that I've seen that would make me kind of want to buy it is that they're bringing all of the original like 2009 Modern Warfare 2 maps are going to be the multiplayer maps on this game. So that's
Oh
all of
yes.
them, and I just think that that's phenomenal. Um, they're also I did see funny that you mentioned Rebirth. They're bringing Rebirth Island back to it as well, which I think is pretty cool.
That's I did see that the movement is a big thing as well that people are saying is a lot better because I know that the movement in the first Modern Warfare was so good, and then this movement in the second one was not really the best. Whereas
Sure,
I've seen that a lot of people are like, "Oh, the movement feels really clean, really smooth coming up in this new Call of Duty." And I'm with you. I love the nostalgia of playing on Rust or High Rise or Favela. Like that just gets me
absolutely.
excited. It takes me way back to when we used to play in high school and middle school and just stay up all night with the boys. So I'm super stoked for it.
That's what I'm saying, man. I want to do some 1v1 quick scopes only on terminal so bad. I want to do it so
Oh my
bad.
gosh.
Rust
Commando
was one of the
Pro
map.
and shit. Oh my.
What'd you say?
I said Commando Pro and
Dude.
oh man.
If they have the exact same perk system, like the perk system in the original MW2 was goaded. It was so OP and like kind of pissed you off, but at the same time, like, you know, you had the quick scope, you had the commando, you had the one man army,
Oh dude,
danger
I will say this
close.
though. I've heard and I've seen, well not really seen, but I've heard that the weapon leveling system will be the exact same like Modern Warfare 2, which I'm not a fan of. I've heard that it's
Like
I
needing
again I
like
haven't
what do you mean? Like
yes,
needing
it's
like
like
headshots or what do you mean?
it would be like, let's say that you have an AR and you want a red dot for it. Get 19 melee kills with a pistol
Oh
to get
no.
the red dot. And you're like, are you kidding me? So it's forcing you to use many different guns to
Yeah.
get specific attachments, which I'm not a fan of because it's like it's gonna take me so long.
Yeah,
And it not only that, but it's just like I don't want to do that. Like I don't want to have to do that.
yeah, I couldn't agree more. I was already not a fan of that when it was you had to do that kind of shit just to get like camos, let alone having to get attachments. Like, come
Oh,
on.
dude, the camos back then were just ruthless. Oh my
I mean, that red
gosh.
tiger, that blue tiger, that fall or
Oh,
whatever it was. Oh.
that was just
Speaking
I'm excited for that.
of camos back then, ever since the Microsoft acquisition of Activision, old CODs are expected to be on Xbox Game Pass starting next week. So that's pretty cool. I was just playing the original MW2 like a month ago because it had, I don't know, 40, 50,000 concurrent online players. It was pretty rad.
I saw the highest actually reached up to about like 4 or 500,000 current
Holy
players
shit.
because
Okay.
it was and that because I remember I watched a video of a person playing the new Call of Duty
Yeah, yeah.
versus the old Call of Duty. So the new Call of Duty was on his PC, SSD, hardwired in. He's like, I should get in the game super quick. He's on an Xbox for the old Modern Warfare 2 on Wi-Fi, not even
Yeah.
wired in,
Yeah.
and he got into a game in 4 seconds for the old Call of Duty. Took him a minute and a half for the new Call of Duty.
That's crazy. I mean, just even the thing too, like even if you're not playing multiplayer and just trying to play a game of Warzone, like Call of Duty and all these games have changed so much now because it's like now I want to sit down and play some Warzone with the boys and it's like, okay, I'll take a solid 15 minutes just to get everybody together, figuring out how we can all join each other. And then we have to get into a Warzone lobby. We load in, we wait at least a minute if not longer while we're waiting for the lobby to fill. And then the game itself, especially if you do well, you're looking at half an hour, 45 minutes easy. And then, at that point, you're like, all right, well, let's play another one. And then 2 games deep, you're already like 2 hours into it. It's like, is this just going to be my day now? Am I,
Yeah.
like, if I want to level up in Call of Duty, I have to devote my entire Thursday afternoon to playing it? Like, come on.
It's a whole process, and you have to schedule the whole day to just be able to play a little bit of it.
Exactly. Just a couple quick Call of Duty things to end the segment. Halloween, they've been doing a lot of Halloween events for the past few years. The Haunting has started again. Initially, it was the Haunting of Verdansk back in the day when it was the best, but the Haunting started again. They brought back zombies and stuff like that in the game while you're playing regular Warzone. Like there's just zombies you also have to watch out for. It's night mode, so everything's harder to see. They brought back like opening crates, and when you open it expecting to get loot, there's just a jump scare in the middle of your screen, like something pops out and screams at you. So that stuff's fun to do. Um, Also, they said that with the acquisition, that there's going to be no exclusivity. They're not going to make COD just for Xbox, which a lot of people were worried about. But they're also no longer, for the longest time, PlayStation has had like certain skins you can only get on PlayStation, or they've had maps or DLC packs would come out for PlayStation first. That aspect is not happening any longer, and that will be either, I don't know if it's going to be an Xbox exclusive thing, like Xbox will have it first, but I know that there's not going to be just stuff you can only get on PlayStation anymore, which has been that way since I was in like 10th grade. So that's pretty crazy that that's changing.
I I just think exclusivity is so stupid anymore.
I
It's just
agree. I mean,
so
I've never owned a PlayStation in my life until I bought a PS5, and I literally only did it because I wanted to play Spider-Man. And I mean, I don't regret it. Spider-Man is a phenomenal game, but
I
Spider-Man 2
I've
just came
I've
out
s-
today also.
I've seen gameplay. It looks, I mean, the PS5, first of all, is just that console is well worth the money for the amount of graphics, and like I just think it's worth it, honestly. It's phenomenal.
I agree. I was actually going to only get a PS5 and then just go with all my Xbox games just on my PC. And then, like, I couldn't get a PS5. They were selling out, selling out, selling out. And I was like following a dude on Twitter that would like post when there was something new, like, or not something new, but like a restock, you know what I mean, of consoles. And
Yeah.
I was like burnt out trying to get a PS5. I had the money saved, and then one day he just tweeted out, like, oh, Xbox Series X are available, and I just jumped on it. And I had it in my cart, and I was able to check out. I was like, fuck it, let's just do it. You know what I mean? So I got that, and then like 2 weeks later, the same thing happened with the PlayStation. I was like, well, guess instead of $500, I'm just spending a solid G bar on new consoles. Whatever, screw it.
Yeah, whatever. Who cares?
Um, but that's all I have for video games, Gak. Unless you got anything for us?
I will say the one thing that I'm very excited to see, I'll just touch on it real quick because I've done a little bit of research, not a lot, is the new Meta Quest 3 headset coming out.
Yes.
So I don't know how much you've done, like how much VR gaming you've done,
Well, I
but
actually just
I've
got the
done.
I just got the PSVR 2.
Oh, I didn't even know the PlayStation came out with a second headset.
Yes, sir. PS5 exclusive. Yep.
Oh wow, that's actually I bet that's phenomenal. But I've done Oculus since it first came out, and even before Facebook had purchased it.
Yeah, I remember you
So,
had one, like an old one of the original ones or whatever back in the
oh
day.
yeah, I had the one that you had to put the sensors up like on your desk, and like if you turned like 180 degrees, it wouldn't even pick you up. You would just start like phasing through walls and stuff. It was
Oh
terrible. But
hell.
I've had the Quest 2 now for over a year. And it's a standalone VR, no cables. It all just is within the headset, and I was blown away. So the third coming out I've seen is actually a mixed reality. So not only can you play virtual reality, but you can actually flip into what I've seen as augmented reality,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
you can bring VR into your everyday life. So you can actually see, like, you could come sit on a prime example, but you could sit on the couch, and let's say you don't have a TV in your apartment or your house or whatever, that's fine.
Yeah.
Through the Oculus Quest 3, you can actually put a TV screen in the headset just sitting in the middle of your apartment and just sit on your couch and watch TV that way. So I
Oh,
I
that's
think that
awesome.
that's incredible personally, but that's the only thing I wanted to touch on was that it's the first VR headset I think that's mixing augmented reality with virtual reality. So,
Yeah, I think that's really cool. There was at the last Apple event that happened is when they announced like the Apple VR, which, that's like $2,500 or something ridiculous like that. But leading up to that, there was like a fan made trailer almost for what they imagined it to be. I don't think it delivered on this, but that's something that they actually showed was they showed like somebody sitting on this fan made thing showed somebody sitting on a couch, and they just like kind of popped up and like made a screen in front of them and like expanded it, sat it away farther, so it felt like you're like in like an actual like just sitting in your living room, like just like you said, and they were just like watching like Netflix on it. And I thought that was like a really cool thing to do. Or they'd like look at their house and be like, hmm, I'd like to put a cabinet here, put something, you know what I mean, put something here, like do some home improvements, wonder what that would look like. Or
oh yeah, it's changing the entire VR world in my opinion. It's just going to open up new doors for everything in the future, and it's I'm super stoked for it.
I'm glad that you're really into VR because I think Devin and I have both been saying for like the longest time that like VR is the future. Like, you know, there can be so many things to do with this. Like, if you ever watched Ready Player One, like that kind of
I
stuff
was
is the exact
just
thing
about
that
to
I
bring
want.
that up.
Like Ready Player One, fun fact, is like one of my favorite movies of all time. But like that, I think that that's genuinely like where we're gonna go. We're gonna get to like what's that book like Fahrenheit 451, where like people have rooms dedicated to just four empty walls with nothing in it because that's what you're gonna be doing. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
And
we're headed in that direction. Technology is evolving tenfold,
the thing that
and
really
it's
pisses me off about that also is Microsoft and like the current Xbox, Microsoft has no foreseeable future plans for VR because they think it's just too early. And I think that you know it is a little early, but maybe we should probably get our feet wet a little bit so that way when it is here, we're not releasing our first VR headset and it just is dog shit. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's just outdated. It's just like, oh, Oculus did that 4 headsets ago. You're
Yeah.
late to the party, buddy. We're way ahead of that.
Unless they're just lying and there's just like an R&D department within Microsoft that's just been testing these and just trying to get like the best one, which maybe.
Yeah,
But
behind the scenes for sure.
yeah, I think you need actual players to like players find stuff out more than game testers ever will. They're going to find the bugs, they're going to do the stupidest shit that you've never even considered. You know what I mean? They'll find your
Oh
bugs
yeah.
for you, and let's just do it now before everybody else is established is what I think we should be focusing on. But Um, I think that I've seen also like some company that had like an actual like haptic like suit type thing, like a vest that you could wear.
Oh yeah, I've seen a ton of stuff. There's so many different VR. I've seen guns, like little guns made to where the uh touch controllers you have are magnetic and they will stick to the bottom of the gun, and then when you need to, like, some of the games, the reload animation or whatever, you actually have to move to like your belt or move to like your shoulder to grab something off there, and it actually lets you, like, almost like I said, like a magnet, just rip it off, and then you do that animation and then automatically relink back to that gun to give you that real experience of holding a firearm in your hand. And I think that some of those products are so worth it. Like you said, the haptic suit where you can actually feel being punched or being shot or something is it's amazing.
Yeah, that yeah. That's what I want. It's so funny too. It's like, you know what? That's what I want so bad. And then at the same time, when I'm playing Call of Duty and I get like headshotted and I'm wearing a helmet, I'm like, ah, shit.
I don't want to. I don't want that. I don't want that.
I don't want to experience like a flashbang grenade or a stun grenade. Actually, come to think of it,
Yeah, no, thank you. That would be terrible.
but I had a buddy the one time playing. I have Pavlov for it. And he was playing that, and he was like, like getting down, crouching, or like laying on the ground, and like we had like the pass through, like he was seeing it, but I was also seeing it on the TV. It was like pretty cool to see like actually getting down on the ground is affecting what is happening on the screen. Like I thought that is already like that's the future that I want to see in gaming.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I think that's gonna do it for all of our non-movie and TV
Uh,
section
I
here.
will say before we move on,
Oh,
I'm gonna take a
yes,
small intermission, just a small,
good, because
quick.
I was about to take an intermission to grab another beer ski.
Oh, I'm with you on that front. So I will be back in about a minute or two.
All right, let me switch it over. Dun 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 dun. All right, we're back. Gak, you back?
Oh, I'm here.
All right, Gak's back. All right, so getting into the movies and TV portion here. Let's see. I'm gonna start with a couple of just short things that I saw this week that I thought might be interesting or funny. Um, did you watch? Did you hear the hit movie Smile? Did you watch that movie at all? That horror movie?
Actually, I haven't gotten around to watching it, but I've seen reviews on it, and it seems like it did decent for a horror movie.
I don't think you should watch it.
You don't think?
In my in my opinion, it's a dog shit version of It Follows. If you
Oh,
ever watched
okay.
It Follows,
Yeah.
it's just It Follows, but instead of having sex, there's just a smile that haunts you, and then people make like that creepy smile, and you're gonna say to me that can't be correct. Well, it is, and they're making a second one. Apparently, enough people thought that it was good enough to make a second one. I don't know. I I just constantly see horror movies that I think are gonna like be really good. I get real excited for them, and then when I watch them, I'm like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? Crafty in chat says, "Oh God, no, that movie was shit." Yep, there we go. That's what I'm saying, Crafty. Well, Smile 2 coming at you soon. This one was
Yeah, I
released on
never
Paramount like within a week of coming to theaters, so I'm just gonna assume this one's gonna go straight to Paramount Plus.
Oh, I'm glad you guys saved me the hour and a half or hour 46 or whatever the hell. Because every scary movie is like an hour and 46 minutes long. It's like, that's so specific. I don't understand.
Listen, man, if you're not gonna make it like a 2 hour plus movie, just keep it a tight 90 so I know what I'm getting into. I'll watch a tight 90 movie, a tight 90-minute movie at any point. I don't care. Crafty says I'm just sticking with watching horror films that I already know are bad. That's the thing. If I know it's gonna be a bad movie, like that's fine. Like I know what I'm getting myself into. Like if I'm watching like, I don't know, Leprechaun on Netflix, I know what I'm
Oh,
expecting. You know what I
I
mean?
have a really bad movie that's so bad it's good. If you ever get the chance to watch it, not to veer off topic,
Slaughterhouse, they said. I saw
but
that the other day.
it is called The Room.
Wait,
I
wait,
don't know
wait.
if anyone's.
Which The Room?
It's with Tommy Wiseau. Yeah,
Yes.
dude, that movie is so bad that it is actually really good.
Dude, I'm pretty sure that correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that that movie is considered like the worst movie of all time.
Oh yeah, and it was produced, directed, starred in, the money was put up by like just Tommy Wiseau did it all. And it has some of the like absolute worst scenes you'll ever see in a movie, but it is so funny that it's hard to not watch. It's great.
Did you ever see or hear of the James Franco movie about The Room?
Oh yeah, the oh my gosh. It's something the artist.
Uh, the Disaster
Goodness.
Artist, yeah.
Yes, the disaster artist.
Did you
Yeah, it's
watch
been a
that?
while since yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen it, but
I've never seen it. I just thought that it was interesting that a movie's so damn bad that they just made a movie about how bad this movie is. You know what I mean?
that was interesting. But when I saw that movie for the first time, I'm like, wow, that's definitely the worst movie I've ever seen.
Oh, I love dog shit movies. It's so funny.
It's great to watch.
Um, Also, I don't know how for the third week in a row I'm talking about the damn follow up to Mean Girls. Um, but Mean Girl, formerly known as Mean Girls 2 on this podcast, Mean Moms, um, it was just going to be a straight to streaming movie, like straight to Paramount Plus. And I think that it gained so much renown by being talked about on the Re-Up podcast that now it's actually going to get a theatrical release. So if you're excited for Mean Girls 2, aka Mean Moms, you need to watch. You need to take your girlfriend, Gak, to the theaters to see Lindsay Lohan on the big screen in a couple years.
I would yeah. I'd love to see what that would look like, honestly.
Uh, that's all I have about that. I have nothing. I'm done talking about Mean Girls. I don't care.
I was gonna say.
I don't care who they announce is in it. I don't care if like Martin Scorsese for some reason is directing it. You will not hear me talk about this again on this podcast. It's been too long. Um, let's just get all the small things out of the way, I suppose. So we also talked about last week that Ocean's 11. There's going to be another movie based in the Ocean's 11 like world, I guess you'll say. Um, and it's starring Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling from Barbie.
Oh wow.
However, I love Ocean's 11. Have you ever seen Ocean's 11?
I've seen some of the oceans, like the older oceans, but other than that,
Okay. Well, Ocean's 11, big heist movie. It's a little bit of comedy in it here and there, but it's never been like funny. Um, but this movie is going to be directed by Jay Roach, who, if you're unfamiliar with, did all of the Austin Power movies. So
oh wow.
I don't know if that means that Ocean's 11 is just going to be like the comedy of the year, and if that's the case, I don't want it. I don't want it anymore. I thought I wanted it, and now I don't want it at all. Well, it's Crafty said you've never seen Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey. I actually saw that being announced. Pretty much Winnie the Pooh became public domain because it's been out for so long that people are now able to just make any Winnie the Pooh movie they want and do anything with it. It's no longer have to worry about copyright and stuff. I also saw that like a fourth grade teacher at some elementary school decided to show that to his class. So I don't imagine that man has a job anymore. But
Yeah, no, not a
Slaughterhouse
chance.
movie of Winnie the Pooh is something that I did never expected to be saying. I never thought that sentence would be something that came out of my mouth. This is something that I'm not sure if you're gonna have anything to say or not. Do you watch any anime at all, Gak?
No, I'm not big into the anime world, but I'll say this that I mean, I think the only real anime I've ever seen was way back, and it was is would Dragon Ball Z be
The biggest anime of
classified
all
as?
time.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've seen that back in the day.
Absolutely. I love Dragon Ball Z. I'm actually, full disclosure here, not a big anime guy. Devin's usually the anime guy on the podcast here. Um, but my girlfriend has been getting me into watching it some more. Like I've watched all of like Full Metal Alchemist and stuff these days, and a lot of big ones. And people are like, "Oh, you don't even really like anime." Whatever. It's getting me started. It's getting my toes wet. Um,
You're just dipping your feet in.
exactly. But there's since you're not super into it, there's a company, Studio Ghibli, who makes some of the most beautiful like anime that I've ever seen, that a lot of people have ever seen, and the stories are also really well done. And I had to breathe for a second. But not only are these stories really well done, but then after they come out and are released in Japan, they always release them, dubbed over in English, and the American cast that they get for them is always insane. And then the newest one that's coming out by this company is called The Boy and the Heron. Oh, how did I do that? It's called The Boy and the Heron, and
I've seen things about this. I've actually seen some of the big names in like that are voicing it. I'm pretty correct me if I'm wrong, honestly. Is like Robert Pattinson's in it. Um, I think
yes,
I saw
sir.
something about Mark Hamill, Christian Bale.
Yeah, it's insane. Those are probably the biggest three. I think Willem Dafoe, the original Green Goblin, is also.
William. You know who else is in it? Florence Pugh. She is
Yes.
in every
Yes.
single movie ever made, I'm pretty sure. Within the last 10 years, I'm sure she's been in everything. I've seen her in everything. Like Midsummer and stuff, dude. Like she was in Oppenheimer that just came out. It's like, dude,
Dude,
she's everywhere.
those last two movies you named are both movies that I've wanted to see and have not gotten to see yet. Both Midsummer and Oppenheimer.
Midsommar's worth a watch, and Oppenheimer. I would be shocked if Killian Murphy does not win an Oscar for Best Actor. I
Really?
want to go see Napoleon when it comes out with Joaquin Phoenix
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I
yeah.
heard that that's going to be a great movie.
I
But
Joaquin Phoenix these days is somebody that I also always want to see something that they do. Oppenheimer, I'm glad that you gave good reviews for it, because Christopher Nolan is, I mean, it's kind of a cop out, but he's like my favorite director, and I really want to see that movie.
well, the
So I'm
funny
happy to
thing
hear
is
it's
that movie
good.
was shot with no CGI. Like there was no like it was
Mm-hmm.
all real. It was like so every even the bomb exploding was 100% real. So to see like some of those things in the movie was actually amazing for me because CGI nowadays, like when you look at the Marvel movies and the DC stuff, it's incredible what they can do. But I love that old school, like, we don't need that stuff. We're just going to use like real stuff like camera angles and stuff like that to make it seem as if though it's real, but it's really not.
Oh, dude, I couldn't agree more. Like even like when I finally got into Star Wars like 2 years ago, I was still like I watched the first, like, not the first three, but episodes one, two, and three first, and then I was getting into four, five, and six, thinking like, oh, 70s, 80s, whatever it was. I was like, this is probably not going to be. I mean, definitely there was that disconnect. You know what I mean?
Oh
But
yeah, for
like they
sure.
still did so good with what they had, and it was just phenomenal. I love that stuff. Even also talking on Christopher Nolan when he made Interstellar, he like bought acres of land, planted his own corn, and then when Matthew McConaughey is driving through the cornfield in his car, like that's like, you know what I mean? Like it's all the corn that he bought and grew himself, and then like sold
That's
off to help with
dedication.
like production budgets. And I just think that that kind of shit is so cool. I always say this also, when this kind of thing is brought up, is in The Shining. Uh, Whenever they were making The Shining, the director said that he like would just change up the carpet patterns. Like it has like a very distinct carpet in like the hotel, and just randomly he would in some scenes have the pattern just go the opposite way, just because like, and you would never touch on it. But like as a viewer watching, if you're engrossed in the film, you're gonna be like, something feels off about this, and I don't know what it is, but I don't like it. I'm already creeped out at what's going on. You know what I mean?
I didn't know that. That's actually
Yeah.
so interesting. I've seen that movie a million times. I've never noticed that the pattern of the carpet is changed. That's I'm gonna have to give that another watch and actually like look for that.
Yeah, it's like it'll go like up and down, but then like in other scenes it'll go down and up. Like it's ridiculous. The amount of thing there's like a whole It was on Hulu for a while, I think, or maybe Netflix, but it was like a whole documentary about like the making of that movie and just like all like the little nuances that they put into it. And it was just, I don't know, it's just wild. It's no wonder that there was actually a list that it's like the top horror movie of all time. And I think that it's for good reason. It's my favorite one personally.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. Psycho thriller esque. I love that.
Um, but yeah, to touch on the boy and the heron again, yes, everybody that you said is exactly who I was thinking of. Um, The main one that I want to say about though is that Christian Bale is going to be in it. Christian Bale did a Studio Ghibli movie before called Howl's Moving Castle, and he just did such a phenomenal voice acting job, and I would not expect that from, American Psycho, Bruce Wayne, Christian Bale, but he does really
Yeah.
good, and I'm really excited that he's coming back for this one because it might be the last one by the initial guy that made Studio Ghibli, and that's exciting for me. Um, Scary movies. We touched on The Shining, and I'm gonna throw this out there before we get there. We're gonna have Devin's not here, so I did my best at making a trivia segment. If there's anybody in chat that'd like to do trivia, let me know. If not, I'll have Gak do it. So go ahead and put it in if you want to do it. However, before we get to that, do you ever see The Strangers? Did you ever watch that movie?
No, it's actually on my list of movies to watch, but I've never seen it now.
So, a little background on The Strangers that I'm sure you know about it if it's on your list, but pretty much like this bride and groom are on their honeymoon and they're in this like cabin, they just got married, and then they get like a knock on their door and like there's nobody there. And then after a little bit they hear it again or they hear like a sound outside. And then eventually they look out the peephole and they see like just these people with like terrifying masks on. And dude, that movie as a kid scared the living hell out of me. Like, I did not want it. I did not want to watch that movie. I watched it once, thought, wow, this is one of the best horror movies I've ever seen. I never want to watch it again. And every time I would watch it again, I'd be freaked out for like a week. That movie was so terrifying as a child. I don't know if it would still be now, and I don't want to find out again, to be completely honest with you. But they released The Strangers 2 maybe 5 or so years ago. And see, that one, right when I thought that I was done, like my girlfriend at the time when I watched the first one or rewatched it again, kind of lived in a house that was kind of back in the woods, kind of back away from, just not living in town. So it always like, I watched it there and then like every time for like a week when I'm leaving the house, I'm like scared again. You know what I mean? Thinking that we're in this secluded spot. But then Strangers 2 took place in like a damn trailer court or something, and then my mom moved to the trailer court, and it was like I'm not even going to give this the time of the day. I'm not even going to do it because I can't handle
You're
this
like, no, I'm not
terror at
reliving
like
that.
19. I can't. But what I'm getting at is the Strangers TV series is coming out, and I don't know, man. I don't think I can do it. I hope that it's just as scary as the other two are because some good horror, and that's the kind of horror that I'm trying to get back into. But if that's on your list, Gak, you should definitely watch the first Strangers movie. I don't know if the second one's good or not because I'm still too scared.
Yeah, I definitely want to watch the first one for sure. It's on my list of movies to watch, but I just never. I have like a ton of movies on that list. I just never get around to watching them.
I hear you. I'm the same way. Everybody, like, I have so many things that I'm ready to watch that at this point, when somebody says that they need me to watch something, like, yeah, I'll add it to the list, I guess. And my list on like, I have like an IMDb movie list, and it's so stupid long that we'll never get there. Okay, so before we get to the last topic, we're gonna do the Shining trivia. Last chance for anybody in chat. I'm gonna give it a solid 45 while I take a drink of my beer and hit my vape. And if nobody answers, then it's gonna be Gak. Also get it pulled up so I don't look like an idiot when I say we're starting. All right. All right, Gak. Looks like it's you. Are you ready? You said you like The Shining.
Yeah, yeah. Let's go.
All right. So, what we've been doing is we had an Outback Steakhouse gift card up for grabs. It initially started out at $1, and I was just going to keep raising it. I mean, you think $1 is not enough, but I do 50 podcasts. Nobody gets it right. We're at $50. However, my buddy Quentin won it last week, so we're back at $1. You can pick it. It can be an Applebee's one. Do you like Applebee's? If you go to
Sure. Yep.
Applebee's, you have the chance of seeing Dev the Mage dressed as Goku back in 2018. I'm gonna make it even bigger this time. We're gonna make it real, real big to end the podcast out on. Look at that. Oh goodness, guy. Look at him. All right, Gak. Re-up podcast, working title trivia for episode 5, The Shining. Question 1. What does Jack say when he breaks down the door? Does he say A, hello there, B, miss me, C, found ya, or D, here's Johnny?
That's pretty easy. That's D. Here's Johnny.
Final answer?
Yes, sir.
That's correct. He says D, here's Johnny. Probably the most famous scene from The Shining. All right, 1 for 1. Question 2. What is the name of the hotel that they stay in? Is it A, the Hampton Inn? Is it B, Bates Motel? Is it C, the Overlook Hotel? Or is it D, the Mountaintop Hotel?
I believe it's the Overlook Hotel.
Final answer?
Yes, sir.
Correct. It is C, the Overlook Hotel. 2 for 2. Question 3. What phrase does Danny keep saying when he's taken over by Tony? Is it A, white wine, B, red rum, C, lemon lime, or D, watch out?
That's B. Red rum.
That is correct, my man. 3 for 3. Here we go. Question 4. Who directed The Shining? Was it A, Stanley Kubrick, B, Alfred Hitchcock, C, Quentin Tarantino, or D, Stephen King?
Oh my goodness. I'm gonna go with because I know that Stephen King. I mean, it's based off of his novel, but I want to say Stanley Kubrick.
Final answer?
Yes, sir.
That is correct. Stanley Kubrick directed The Shining based on the Stephen King book. And Stephen King, fun fact, famously hates The Shining movie.
Wow, that's odd.
Yeah, he says that they didn't take it in the creative direction that he would have taken it. He actually wrote his own script for it. Well, kind of weird that the writer of the book wrote his own script and it didn't make it to the big screen. All right, Gak. 4 for 4 so far. Here's the last one. I don't know if this is an easy one or not. I think it might be. What is Jack's career besides being the caretaker of the hotel? Is he A, a writer, B, a painter, C, a musician, or D, a podcaster?
He's a writer. A.
Just such the confidence coming out of this man. You were the right guy for this job. It is, in fact, A, a writer. Final answer. Good job, Gak. You broke the bank again. 5 for 5 again. 2 for 2 on episodes. You get a $1 gift card to the Applebee's. And I promise I will fulfill on that.
Hell yes. Thank you, Ian.
I made it Applebee's because they just announced the Dollaritas are back. So that's one
Yeah,
free
I
drink
saw
on the Re-Up
that.
podcast. So don't act like I never gave you anything, buddy. Besides just immense amounts of internet and podcast fame to take home forever.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You didn't sound very convinced by that,
Oh
my
no!
man.
Oh no!
Unbelievable,
Oh, no! I'm
this
very,
guy. Yeah.
I'm very convinced.
Yeah,
Very
yeah, for
convinced.
sure. All right, buddy. Looks like you have one last thing for us. You wanna kick it off?
Oh, the top 100 movies of all time. So I've been doing this thing that I think is I thoroughly think everyone should do it. If you're a big movie person, if you love watching movies,
Well, I'm
I
a
have a
huge movie
poster.
buff.
It's top 100 movies. Okay, now it could differ. Not gonna lie, could differ, but it just has like they're all blacked out. It'll give you the name and the year it was released. What I do is I ask Siri to give me a number between 1 and 100. She'll give me a random number. I'll go to that movie spot and I'll watch it. Okay. And I'll sit down and just like watch it and just, see how good it is, see if I like it or not. And then you actually can scratch off that gray spot and it will reveal the actual movie poster for it.
Oh, that's pretty
And I
rad.
think and I think it's cool because, once you get all 100 done, you just have this huge poster
Poster
of
of
the top 100 movies, like their movie posters, and you get to say like I've watched these movies and just you get to dissect it as you will, and I just think it's super cool for any person who loves to watch movies.
Yeah, I think that if you want to watch movies through that lens, you know what I mean? Like if you're really a big movie buff and you want to see what's influential, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you kind of want to see because I know the first movie I've watched was Gladiator, 2001 with Russell Crowe
Mhm.
and Joaquin Phoenix. Actually, we were just talking about him earlier, and Russell Crowe actually won the Oscar for Best Actor for that role as Maximus in The Gladiator. So I think it's kind of cool to sit there and be like, okay, well, how is he able to win the Oscar for Best Actor? And then you see his performance in that movie and be like, oh, that makes a ton of sense. I know one of the movies on that list. I mean, I've seen it a million times. My girlfriend just watched it for the first time. Silence of the Lambs with Sir Anthony Hopkins and Jodie
Yes.
Foster. Beautiful. One of the best. I think that's in my top 5 movies of all time. It's so
Really?
good.
It's
Oh, yeah,
interesting.
easily. And she was like, "Oh, that guy Hannibal, he's pretty good." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, he won the Oscar for Best Actor for that movie." So it's like, yeah, he's it's just interesting because she's not a movie buff at all, but there's some movies that she's found through like the poster, just through my top 100 movies list that she's like, "Oh, those movies are phenomenal. I'd watch those again and again and again." So
Yeah, I think that that's a really I think that's a really cool idea and I think that it's I think that it's worthwhile doing, you know what I mean? Cuz I think you're going to see you can kind of set apart like was this actually a good acting? You can really see like the nuances that these actors bring to stage and you can kind of get a better appreciation for them, I guess, and understand why like I don't know. Like I said, Joaquin Phoenix, for example. Like when I hear his name in a movie, I want to see it now. And same with directors. When I hear that director, that's why I want to see it. Like I think that that's an important thing to do. It helps you appreciate that kind of stuff more. And now is
I'm
that
glad that you touched on that because I know so many people that are big theme, like horror or psycho thriller or rom com,
yeah,
or oh, this person's in it or that person's in it. I'm a big who directed it. Like I love like if I see like a Martin Scorsese film or a Quentin Tarantino film, I'm like, oh yes, don't
must
care what
watch.
it is.
Yep.
I'm gonna go watch it because he directed it. It's got to be good.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. That's exactly how I am too. Um, is this so is that list? What's the list from? Does it do you know like the source? Like is it from like IMDb's top rated? Is it do you have any idea?
Honestly, I could not tell you, to be honest. I would assume IMDb because that's like the main that's where everybody goes for
Yeah.
movies, if I'm being honest, but I have no idea. I mean, I could tell you that the number 1 movie on that list was The Godfather of
Oh,
1972.
that's what I was gonna
So,
guess. Fun fact: I've never seen The Godfather.
neither have I, so I'm
Neither have I.
extremely
Siri
excited
hasn't said
to
number one yet.
Yeah, so once she gets to number 1, I'm like, "Yes, let's go."
Oh, that's awesome. I'm gonna need you to send me a link of that. I got to get me one of those posters. See how many. So wait. So if you've seen a movie on it already, are you scratching it off, or are you gonna wait until it comes up to do it like naturally?
I mean, if it's a movie that I've seen a few times to where I'm like, I could not tell you what the ending is or like specific scenes,
Yeah.
I'll watch it. But if it's a movie I've seen endless times, like The Shining, like when The Shining comes up,
Yeah.
I'll look at my girlfriend and be like, listen, we're gonna watch it, but just so you know, I know every single thing that happens in that movie. I know every scene. I could almost quote the movie. There's only a handful of movies that I could quote like the whole script from beginning to end. But I'll watch it for the sake of her. But if I was on my own accord, I would just scratch it off personally and be like, "Yep, seen it. Don't, I know what it is."
Gotcha. That was actually my follow up question. Was is it something that you and the girl are doing together?
Oh yeah, we actually do Tuesday nights I have two coworkers and obviously her and we do like a movie slash game night. So we'll either play on the Wii, we'll do like Mario Kart, Wii Sports or something, or sometimes we'll watch movies and that's what we'll use as kind of like well because we no one knows what to pick. You're always like, oh, do we watch a terrible scary movie or do we watch like a romantic comedy. It's like, no, let's just pick a random movie off this top 100 list and watch it and see how good it is. And
Oh yeah.
if you guys hate it, oh well. But if you like it, there you go. Now you have a new movie to turn on and show your friends.
I love that. I love that so much. Yeah, my girlfriend, she's big into horror movies and such too, and then she had never watched The Shining. And like the first time we put it on, she just seemed like disinterested or like on her phone. I'm like, oh man, I'm just gonna shut it off. She's like, why? I'm watching it. I'm like, no, 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 no. I need you to
No, you're
watch it. You know
not.
what I mean? And then like I was kind of felt like I was, I don't know, mansplaining or something. How go this movie's so good, whatever. But
Yeah, oh yeah,
then
I
when
find
I
myself doing that constantly too.
Exactly. But then when I actually got her to watch it, then she's like, "Oh wow, like that actually was like a really good movie. It was long," and then I'm like, "Yeah, it is like 2.5 hours, but it's
That's a long
sometimes you gotta
watch. It's
just
a long
commit
watch.
just for can't sit here and say you're a big movie buff if you're not gonna give it the time of day." But
I always tell people go watch either The Wolf of Wall Street or The Irishman because The Irishman's like 3 hours and 45 minutes, and I think Wolf
yeah.
of Wall Street's 3 hours. Like, if you could sit down and watch those without getting up, you're a movie buff for sure.
Yeah, I think I only watched The Irishman once, but I did it in one take, and it was, oh my goodness, it was a hell of a ride to make it through
Yeah,
the whole
you
thing.
you
But
probably felt like you were there for a day watching that.
yeah, but it was a really good movie. Martin Scorsese's making a new movie. Did you hear about that at all?
Is it the one with Leo and Robert De Niro?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can't remember the name of it, but it's I believe it's set as like in then like the Native American lands.
Yeah, it's like
Um,
I'm gonna butcher the name without looking up, but it's like something of the Flower Moon, like Killers of the Flower Moon or something. I don't remember,
yeah,
but
something like that.
I saw IGN. Like I guess it must be done. I saw IGN rated it a 9 out of 10. So I mean that's good. I mean again, Martin Scorsese, like we said, is the same kind of director that I'm gonna watch it when it comes out. You know what I mean? But
Oh, for sure. That's definitely at the top of my list of movies to watch when it releases.
yes, sir. Um, all right, man. Well, I think that's all the main news that we have. Again, I do really appreciate you coming on to help me in my time of need.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It's always I think I came on here like 2 or 3 years ago,
Yeah, that's
and
actually yeah. Go ahead.
it's always a blast to come on here, man. Like I love sitting down and talking to you and Dev because I've known you guys for many many years now, and it's always a blast to just sit down and talk to you guys about what's new in pop culture these days.
Yeah, man, it's just it's just a fun time. Like people that haven't actually like talked with us on it. Like it's nice. I told Devin like back when we used to do like a more dedicated music section, it was nice like going out to like bars or something and people be like, "Oh man, Ian should play music. He has some good music recs." I'm like, dude, I just appreciate people listening. You know what I mean? But then like
Yeah.
I had my buddy Matt on a couple weeks ago, and like Matt, like I don't know if you even ever listened to it before, but he was around, and I was like, hey, come on here, and it was just his experience beforehand, probably not knowing too much about it, versus afterwards is like, oh man, I'd love to come back on again. Like that was so much fun, and it's like, yeah, like you just get to just get to hang out and get to bro out, talk about some stuff, learn about some things you never heard, talk about something that's passionate to you. I don't care. Obviously, end goal would I'd love to do this all the time. Love it to be my full-time job. But even if that never happens, it's just a good way to spend some time with good friends and just kind of you know, fill people in on stuff that they might not have never heard about or just laugh and talk about shit.
I
Um
could not agree with you more.
but yeah, man, I'm glad that you came back on. A fun fact about Cullen is he was on the re-up a few years ago. I think it was 4 even 5 years ago when we did it before. Um, Something that's really funny about that is I was looking through our old Twitter feed, and the episode that you were on was titled "The Cheetos Movie," and I just saw um, like 2 days ago on Netflix or on Hulu that the Cheetos movie we talked about it. We said, how in the hell is there going to be a movie or documentary about hot Cheetos? And that documentary just came out 2 months ago, and I just think that is really funny that we
That
talked
is
about that
actually
so
interesting.
long
I
ago.
did not know that. That's
It just
hilarious.
came out.
Oh man. Talk about coming full circle. Oh
Exactly.
my
That's why we
goodness.
had to have you on, man. Devin faked an illness just so you could get on and we could bring this topic up.
Now I gotta go watch it just to see how well it is, how
Yeah.
well made it is.
um, but I'm glad another episode in the books. I wish that Devin could have been here, but after taking some breaks and even taking some breaks earlier this year, I just didn't want to stop producing content. As always, Devin always brings something to the screen that I just can't capture. I mean, whether it's that beautiful face or just his comedy, but I think Gak did a good interim job. But I'd like to
Thank you. I
thank everybody
appreciate
that's
that,
been
Ian.
here. What'd you say?
I said thank you, Ian. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. I'd like to thank everybody that's been here, everybody that talked in chat. But that's all that I got for Colin Gak again. I am Ian Reed.
And for Ian Reed, I'm Cullen Gak.
Man. And you know what? For Devin Knoll, I'm also Ian Reed because I know he's here in spirit. And we'll catch you for next week's episode of... Oh, Devin's not here. The Re-Up.
The re-up, baby.